D. Writing. Write up the results of a survey. Editing gerunds and infinitives. Let's study these errors. And when you're doing your writing, please pay attention to the areas that you make mistakes in and edit them out. Number 1, subject-verb agreement. Knitting and listening to music is very relaxing. Oops, that's not quite right. Why not? Because we have two actions, two gerund subjects. Knitting, that's one. Listening to music, that's another. That requires a plural verb, are. Knitting and listening to music are very relaxing. Number 2. Number 2, parallel structure, two gerunds or infinitives. Lily loves doing yoga and to dance in her free time. Lily loves two things, doing yoga and dancing. Doing yoga, gerund 1. Dancing, gerund 2. Now, the structure's parallel. Yay! Number 3, parallel structure with auxiliaries. They expect to have signed the papers and to turn over the keys by Thursday. They expect to have signed and turned over the keys. Now, what does that mean? To have signed the papers and to have turned over the keys. They're returning the rented place. He hopes to walk off the plane and was greeted by his family. He hopes to walk off the plane, that must be future, and be greeted by his family. You can't use the past because this hope is about something that hasn't occurred yet. To walk off and to be greeted. We don't need to repeat that to, so we just say be. He hopes to walk off the plane and be greeted by his family. Number 4, use of negative forms. She resents being not given a bonus this year. Let's pay attention to word order. She resents not being given a bonus this year. Now the word order is correct. In Part D1, editing, you need to correct the errors in the passage. Work-centric people focus almost exclusively on their work life. Dual-centric people, on the other hand, tend to focus on both their families and their work. All right, go through the rest of the passage, find the errors, and correct them. Then check your work with the answer key. Beyond the sentence, referring to gerunds and infinitives. Although competition can be motivating, many newer management models focus on collaboration. One success story comes from a nonprofit organization. Employees had started complaining about coworkers, ignoring emails and phone calls, even refusing to attend meetings. The situation got so bad that many employees were thinking of quitting. Nouns referring to actions or states are often used to summarize and replace longer gerund or infinitive phrases. These nouns help to keep writing short and succinct. So you see the noun, the situation, and that refers back to the whole underlined phrase. Actually includes several phrases, several different actions. Here's the second paragraph. A consultant was brought in to help people better understand themselves as team members. The administration's purpose in sponsoring the workshop was to help people become better at collaborating. Knowing their own personality type seemed to help employees understand their own role in the drama that was being played out, said the manager. It helped them find humor in the situation, and from humor, they were able to renew relationships. So notice here, subject or object pronouns can follow and replace a gerund or infinitive phrase. So see how the word it, that pronoun, refers back to the underlined phrase. In exercise D2, you need to be referring to gerunds and infinitives. Learn how to do that. Exercise A asks you to match each sentence in the first column with the correct sentence from the second, and then underline the pronoun or summarizing noun phrase and the gerund or infinitive it refers to. I expect to be transferred overseas. The move will give me a chance to see a new culture. So notice that being transferred overseas is now referred to in the second sentence as the move. Okay, a transfer or a move. So I expect to be transferred. That whole phrase can be referred to as the move. Finish this exercise and then check your answers with the answer key. Continue with Part B to complete each sentence with your own ideas. Try to find a pronoun or a summarizing noun to replace the gerund or infinitive. I need to read magazine articles, search the internet, and talk to colleagues. I need plus infinitive. 3, in fact. All of this together can be considered preparation. Preparation. So we can say this preparation, that means reading the magazines, searching the internet, and talking to colleagues. This preparation will help me when I begin my job search. All right, complete the rest and then check your answers with the key. Here's a hint. Raising children changes people over time because da-da-da-da-da. What do you think about raising children? I tried studying alone in the library, and then I tried working with classmates. But now find a phrase to refer back to these actions. Owning your own business can be rewarding. However, find a noun phrase. Many people expect to earn a lot of money in their first professional job. Unfortunately, okay, now find a noun phrase that can refer back to this action. Vocabulary notes. Passive verbs plus infinitive. In more formal or academic writing, when mental activity and communication verbs are used in the passive, they're usually followed by an infinitive. This infinitive often refers to a state or condition rather than an action. Mental activity verbs include believe, consider, expect, know, and think. This treatment is believed to be effective. This treatment is considered to be effective. The treatment is believed to be effective. That means people believe the treatment is effective. But we don't need to mention people because it's not specifying anyone. It's just somebody or people in general. Communication verbs claim, estimate, say, and report are some examples of communication verbs. The treatments are said to cost a great deal. The treatments are reported to cost a great deal. That means people say, or people report, that the treatments cost a great deal. In exercise D3, you should focus on reporting opinions and ideas. Rewrite the sentences with a passive verb followed by an infinitive. For example, number 1, some journalists report that the housing market is a good investment. Take out some journalists and write with housing market as the subject. The housing market is reported to be a good investment. Try the rest of the sentences and then check your answers with the answer key. What about making up some sentences of your own about stress reduction practices? What stress reduction practices are popular today? Can you make a list? Then you can use your list to write sentences with a passive verb followed by an infinitive. Maybe you'll have a sentence like this. Yoga is said to be good for back pain and headaches. D4, write. Here's a writing tip. Write about the results of a survey. All right, so you can read the information in the blue box. Then you can choose a topic to write about. Write for about 150 to 175 words, and you can write about whether students are generally satisfied or dissatisfied with their lifestyle. You can write about people's hopes and expectations. You can write about changes in traditional family structure. When you write, be sure to use the writing checklist to reflect on your ability to use gerunds and infinitives by answering the questions. Did you use gerunds and infinitives to talk about actions and states? Did you use pronouns to replace gerund or infinitive phrases? Did you use summarizing nouns to replace gerund or infinitive phrases? Did you use any passive or perfect gerunds or infinitives? Did you use any verbs in the passive followed by infinitive? And did you check your sentences for correct form? Be sure you check your writing before you post it. Observe the due date and read and respond to at least 2 classmates who don't yet have responses. Going beyond the classroom, you might think of writing on some other topics. You might write about owning a business. Or you might write about the connection between health and lifestyle. What about the issue of having or not having children, and how that might affect different stages of adult life? Here are these examples for you to consider when writing using gerunds and infinitives.